everybody? Welcome to the Midnight FrightCast. It's been not exactly. I don't know. I haven't counted the months, but it's been about a year since we've fired off one of these podcasts. We've been hanging out over on the Greg the Movie Guy podcast for a while now. We've been doing all of our horror talk over there, but it's decided that it's time to bring back the old FrightCast and talk about all horror stuff over here and leave Greg alone for a little bit. So welcome back. If you're listening, thank you for listening. Thank you for waiting around for the year. Just a couple of changes to the Midnight FrightCast. Really, it's not even a couple. It's one. It's exactly one change. Otherwise, we're doing shit the same old way. But it's a big change. And I didn't do this. My name's Josh. I'm co-host Josh, and our co-host now is different. We lost Tyler. We miss Tyler, but we have a different co-host, a new co-host, a co-host that's been hanging out with us on the Greg the Movie Guy podcast, and it's our co-host Patrick.
Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm sure it's a big disappointment. You probably heard me on Greg's podcast over there, and you're going, "Oh crap, you couldn't have found anybody better."
Oh no, these two fools are doing their own podcast again. So we've been hanging out over on Greg's podcast, and we kind of just decided that we're gonna just do regular old movie news over on Greg's podcast and talk about the Marvels and the just like other movies that don't kill people on his podcast, and we'll bring all the other gory goodness back on over here and separate the two. And then we'll get Greg over here and we'll intermingle podcasts, and it'll be a good time.
Right, and this will give us a better opportunity to kind of update everyone on where we are on our own projects with Midnight Frights and the movies that we're doing, the shorts, where we're going to be showing anything at all. So we can kind of get back to that to get the information out to our listeners. Yeah,
we usually wait till the end of this thing, but sometimes people don't make it to the end. So let's drop it at the beginning. The other changes, I guess, is our website is updated. So you can go to midnightfrightfilms.com. Do it now. Just listen to the podcast and go to the website at the same time. It's okay. You can do that. There's a bunch of cool stuff over there as far as like what we've currently been doing, and then we have a new YouTube page up as well that has our current projects up and some old projects. You should head over to our YouTube page also, which is Midnight Fright. Is it Midnight Fright Films? Midnight Frights?
You know what? If you go to the website first, there's a link over to the YouTube stuff, so that's probably the easiest way to get there. Yeah. And then the next podcast will have that definite URL.
Yeah, you can check out Emily's up now. The actor's cut. We're called the actor's cut, but it's really like the best cut of all of them. Love Bites, our film that played at Prairie Lights this year, is hanging out on there. Our old trailer from We Did Remission is on there. What else is up there?
Just a couple other short things, yeah. But pretty soon we're going to be having just some clips from the most recent projects that we've been working on.
We're going to drop loads of fun on you. My wife would be so disappointed that I said drop loads. So yeah, let's the format's kind of the same, really. We're going to come on here. It's going to be a real quick fire off tonight because we're just trying to get back into it, back into a groove, find a nice little groove to sit into and get comfortable back on the Midnight FrightCast. So we're going to do the whole like, what have you been watching kind of deal, kind of a version of that. And then we're going to talk about all the excitement that's coming in 2017. So I'm going to let Patrick start because I already feel like
he's been talking for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But he hasn't really been. It just feels like that. No. It's interesting as we wind down into the holidays, we find less and less time to watch movies. And especially after coming off of the 31 days of horror.
Oh my God!
That we went through. We challenged ourselves to watch 31 horror films in the month of October, and I think by the time we hit November, we just didn't want to look at the screen anymore.
I failed super hard on my own challenge. I challenged these guys to watch 31 days of horror, and I think I only made it through like 12. I suck ass.
Yeah, so. I think Greg and I were the only ones who actually finished it out.
Yeah.
And it was a hard drive to the end. It was tough.
There's a real hate in Greg's heart for me right now for making me watch all those movies.
Yeah, and you know, and a lot of our resources came from like Netflix or Hulu, and there's some real stinkers out there that if you're trying to find something that somebody else hasn't seen.
Yeah.
So you know, maybe sometime we'll post our ultimate list up on the website to let everybody know what we actually sat through
for sure.
To see, because we actually did on our Facebook page, or we had a private Facebook group and we reviewed it for each other. And, you know, we started off, we had like 3 paragraphs, you know, describing the movie. And by the time we got to the end, it was just like, oh, here's this movie. I liked it.
The end.
The end.
I don't think we actually comprised a list.
No, I don't think we
did watch.
Yeah, I don't think we have a
we should write that up and drop that on the Facebook page and the website as well.
Right. And you know, unfortunately what came out of that is some of the wives were asking us, so are you going to do a Christmas movie challenge?
Oh, yep.
And you know what? I would probably fail miserably at that one.
My wife and I've tried. We've started.
Yeah.
We started early because she knows my like I couldn't get motivated to watch horror films. Christmas movies are going to kill me. So, but we've watched a few. But yeah, I don't think anybody really accepted that 31 Days of Christmas challenge. Because
you know, I think maybe for me personally, there's like 3 movies that bears watching for me, and a lot of people would argue with me, but Christmas movies just don't do it for me.
No.
And by the way, the furnace just kicked on in the house, so if you hear this weird hum over the microphone, that's exactly what it is. We're in the basement of my house, and we're trying to. We're trying to transition into where would be a good place to actually record
We're
this.
in the studio. Yeah. We're in the studio of Patrick's house, which is basement.
Yeah.
Studio.
So I apologize for that. You know, a movie that I was talking with Josh about earlier, a movie that I saw that not a lot of people have been able to see because it's really difficult to get a hold of, is the Poughkeepsie tapes. And it's a documentary found footage style movie in which they find boxes of videotapes left behind by a serial killer, and there was a lot of there actually was a lot of media around this movie because people thought it was so unique and stuff like that. I didn't necessarily find it that unique. However, while a lot of the casted acting was somewhat sketchy, everything that was showing up on the videotapes was really, really interesting. And I think if someone were to find those tapes, they could have been thought to be authentic.
Yeah.
And that's what I found really interesting about this movie. And it kept me till the end. All the way through, and especially since they never found the killer, etc. Oops, spoiler alert.
Yeah, well, it's super indie too, right? You
it's extremely indie. I couldn't tell you what the budget would be on something like that. But like I said, it kept my attention all the way to the end, even with the sketchy acting for the people that they cast as the psychiatrists and the FBI people and things like that. So, if you do have an opportunity to see that, like I said, I don't know how well it was distributed. I know that there was some distribution disputes and other things like that. So the opportunity to see it was not really there. But if you do have an opportunity to get to see it sometime, I say take a look at it. It's worth the hour and a half. And then another movie that I saw, I'm sure I've seen more than this, but this is one that sticks out in my head. A movie called Satanic.
Was that on Netflix?
It was on Netflix.
Okay.
It may still be. Nobody of, fame to note of, except for the oldest daughter in Modern Family. If you're a Modern Family fan, the television comedy. She was the lead character on this. Basically, it was a group of people heading out to California, and they were two of the friends wanted to visit like the Manson house and all these other different things like that, and they went to a satanic shop where you could buy paraphernalia and things like that. And well, anyway, over the course of time, they get hooked up. They find this place. They head out to it. They see a ritual going on, and then they themselves become the 5 points of the star.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
So deaths happen, murders happen, and there's a little twist at the end that I thought was really kind of interesting. So for originality, I thought they did a pretty good job. Cool. Because you just don't see much original anymore.
It's tough now.
So I felt originality was up there. Writing, so. It was worth my time watching, though.
Okay.
But once again, when there's someone of fame in movies like this, it's kind of hard to look past that because you think of their character on Modern Family or whatever.
Yeah, that's those are like the best, even like indie or Hollywood, those are the best horror films that come out are the ones that star nobody.
Right.
Because you get a star like, I say Ethan Hawke a lot because he seems to pop up in horror films for some reason.
Right.
He's just safe. It's safe.
Yeah.
Except for when he did Sinister and he wasn't safe in that. But you see them pop up and you just know like, okay, well that guy can't die or that character can't die because they're an A-list actor and they never get killed off.
Right. And it completely takes you out of the moment as well. Because when it's somebody you don't know, you say, this is something that could happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Or this is something that is happening. So
exactly.
That's one thing I love about, people who take the time to go out and find, I don't want to say nobodies because, these are people, but people without fame.
The only real horror film that I can think of off the top of my head where it actually starred people with names, kind of, Scott Speedman was in it, and Liv Tyler was in it. They did The Strangers. Like that's the only movie I actually ever watched with two people of any notoriety in it that I was like, oh shit, these people are in trouble.
Yeah.
And you knew like maybe these guys are in knee deep in shit.
Right.
So,
right. So off the top of my head, those are two movies that I remember seeing in the past month since we had our overload. Yeah,
we had to take a little break.
Right.
I'm going to try to stick. Well, this is going to be tough because I'm going to try to stick to one movie, but it's going to bounce into another movie, and then I'm going to top it off with a movie that I know we both have seen.
Good.
So, the one movie that I have watched recently is the fantastic PG-13 rated, Kevin Smith directed Yoga Hosers. Okay. I know everybody has either already now turned this shit off or they're like, ooh, tell me more about the Hosers of the Yoga. You can now watch this on Netflix, by the way, which I was extremely stoked to find out that you can watch this on Netflix right now. I was one click away from buying it, and then I found it on Netflix, and now I have even more reason to buy it because I love the shit out of this movie. But I cannot talk about this movie without talking about its mother from another, its brother from another mother. Did I say that right?
Yeah, I think you're close.
Yeah, okay, cool. Tusk. And I talk about Tusk I saw Tusk a billion years ago, and I still talk about Tusk till this day because I just not only am a Kevin Smith fan, but like it's so crazy and it's just so ridiculous that there's no way you can not tell people to go see that. Like you have to go see Tusk, even if like you have to go into it with no real like. You just know that it's going to be ridiculous, and you can't question it, and you can't go, oh my God, there's no way this could ever happen, because you're right, there's no way this could ever happen. You just have to have an open mind about it. But but Tusk introduced us to two characters named the Colleens. Yes, it's two girls, both named Colleen, that work in a convenience store. Convenient. And one of them's Lily Rose Depp, and the other one is Kevin Smith's daughter, Harley Quinn. And they play the Colleens, and they work in this convenience store that Justin Long's character comes in to find out how to find this adventure that he goes on. So Yoga Hosers is a extension of the Colleens and their day-to-day life working in this convenience store. And it brought me back to Clerks a little bit. It's easily just as smart as far as like the dialogue. It's just as witty. The two girls are not actors is the thing. They're not. Like they're one of their dads is a very famous actor, and one of their dads is a half-ass director, and he knows it. So I'm not talking out of turn at all. And Kevin Smith really just wrote this movie to because he had so much fun with those two characters that he wanted to see where else he could take them. And it's a ton of fun. Again, it's PG-13. There's no blood. There's no real like violence in the movie at all. There's no real bad language. It lives in the horror genre. I was telling Patrick, it lives in the horror genre because nobody else will take it. And horror's kind of full of weird kind of things anyway. So it was like, yeah, let's come live in our genre. We'll take you. But it's the movie is about these two girls that work in this convenience store, and they are at work on a night that they're not even supposed to be there, and they get attacked by these 6-inch tall Nazi bratwurst, and called I can't remember what they're called now, but they get attacked by these little Nazi bratwurst monsters, and it's just a ridiculous movie, but it's like it's a ton of fun. It brings you back to like really like those 80s like monster movies kind of, and it's more like a Hammer horror film, I guess is what you would kind of where you would kind of put it. And it's just a ton of fun. Everybody's got to check out Yoga Hosers on Netflix.
Now, has Kevin Smith done a PG-13 movie before?
I'm trying to think. I don't even think Jersey Girl I don't think was PG because that had language in it, I think.
Right.
We all know Clerks and that
no
franchise. There's no way that was PG-13.
Now, did he direct Green Hornet? That may have been one.
He did not. He wrote a draft
That's
for Green Hornet. Yeah, he was originally supposed to direct Green Hornet, and he bailed on that to make Clerks 2 instead.
Okay. All right.
Man, I came in with all this just enthusiasm about Yoga Hosers. It hit me like Tusk hit me. I was like, I saw that movie, and then I was like, everybody go watch Yoga Hosers right now. You have no excuse. It's free on Netflix. Everybody has Netflix. You got to go watch that movie. Just go home right now and watch Yoga Hosers. It's an hour and a half of like crazy fun.
Yeah,
so
very cool.
That was like the big, like, quote unquote horror film that I watched recently. Now, since we've talked on the FrightCast, I've seen quite a few of the horror films that have come out, and I know you've seen them as well. But some like highlights for me in 2016, as far as some of the horror films I've seen, Blair Witch came out, which I dug the ever-loving shit out of. I don't know why I got quiet there. I was trying to whisper because I was cursing. I'll try not to do that again. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I almost bleeped myself.
Oh, wow, it's very interesting.
Yeah, and I curse on Greg's podcast all the time.
No
doubt. But Blair Witch, I loved Blair Witch. That was a highlight of my 2016. I was really afraid of that movie coming out and going, it's going to ruin what I thought Blair Witch like I loved Blair Witch when it came, the Blair Witch Project when it came out, and I was like, oh, this is gonna kill it, and I just loved it.
Yeah. Well, because they did have that sequel that came out, and it
Book
was
of Shadows
Book of Shadows,
out.
and it was absolutely horrible.
It was dog crap.
It was complete shit. And my wife and I, we went to see the new Blair Witch movie, and excuse me, my wife gets motion sick. When it comes to, and I believe yours does too.
I found that out twice now.
When it comes to handheld videos for things like that, and I mean, she took a Dramamine and still got really, really sick. And I was watching it, and it was probably about 10 minutes before the end of the movie, and I was starting to feel nauseous myself. So I don't know if there was more motion in this one or not, but I really, really dug this movie.
I didn't feel like there was more. I thought there was less motion. Like the first half, I thought was they were moving the camera a lot, and then they start setting these cameras up on like tripods.
Right. So there was a lot of static
so there's
shots.
a lot of steadiness to a lot of it, but then it got to the end, and the end is when it got crazy.
Right.
Because then that's when like it goes back to the Blair Witch Project, because they're running through the woods and they got the shaky cameras going.
Right.
And even that, I was like, that doesn't bother me too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, my wife had to run out of the theater and throw up.
And if you'll allow me to go off on a tangent here.
I can't wait. I love tangents.
Well, no, I mean, it's pretty minor. Blair Witch, to me, showed one of the things that bugs the hell out of me is when there's stuff in the movie trailers that never end up in the movies. And I know you got to create the trailers well before the movie is released or finally the final cut is made. But there was some kick-ass shit in the trailer that never made it into the movie, like when she was climbing through the pipe thing and she got yanked all the way back.
That wasn't in the movie?
That was not in the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there was
a great shot too.
It was an amazing shot.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm done with my tangent.
That was it. That was
short
tangent.
It just made me think of that. So.
I was like, all right, tangent, awesome, let's go. The other highlight for me for 2016, I'm almost getting ahead of myself. 2016 was Fede Alvarez did a movie called Don't Breathe, which I think was easily the best, probably the best horror film of 2016.
Even without being like a total horror film, because it was horror upon thriller upon horror. Yeah, it kept me on the edge of my seat.
It again really didn't. It didn't star anybody. If you think, I mean, it did and it didn't.
Right. I mean, the one young man I recognized from something else, and I couldn't remember what it was.
The lead female came from. She was in his remake of Evil Dead. She was the lead in that.
Right.
And that's the only person I really recognize at all. And even she doesn't have like a name. It's not like she's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the younger man, not the rebel, the other guy, he was in some teen flick thing like the Maze Runner or something like that. I can't remember what it was exactly, and don't ask me why I would know that he was in some teen
Maze Runner
flick.
fan.
Yeah, big one.
Let's talk about the Maze Runner.
Yeah, let's talk about it. But yeah, I mean, even with me recognizing him in this movie, like I said, kept me on the edge of my seat.
It's like it gives you like the biggest anxiety attack ever.
Right.
Is how it was described kind of to me before I went and saw it. And then you go in there and that's pretty much what it is. It's, you're gripping, and again, I don't really, it's not scary. There's nothing scary about the movie. It's just like, it's super intense.
Exactly.
And,
and there's times you just don't know what's going to happen next.
But yeah, as far as like, again, with the casting and the content, it snuck in for me as one of the top movies of 2016 as far as the horror thriller genre goes. So
yeah,
we can.
Well, and the guy who played the blind man, I don't know.
Yeah,
I do not know the name of the actor, and I should. But because he's going to be starring in a movie that's coming up that I just can't wait to see now, because he's playing the lead character. He's going to be playing Cable.
Is he playing Cable?
He's playing
Cable.
I
know his name was dropped for Cable in the new Deadpool movie, but I saw like 4 or 5 other names too. Yeah. So that was actually confirmed.
That's my understanding. He was confirmed for Cable.
Yeah, that guy will kick ass.
Yeah, because he looks the part.
Yeah.
He's built for the part. For his age, this guy was built like a or a brick shithouse.
Yeah,
So.
and I don't know him from anything else. That's the thing too. It's like I know nothing about him.
And jumping back to yoga hosers real quick, because this is something I noticed before I started watching it the other day. I didn't quite finish the movie.
Bratzies, by the way. They're called Bratzies.
Oh, the Nazi bratwurst.
Yes, they're called Bratzies.
Nice. My daughter went on to Rotten Tomatoes to see what the rating was.
Oh, yeah.
And the tomato meter has not changed. It's still at 20%.
Yeah.
However, the audience score raised from 26% to 47%. So I think people are starting to see it, and I think they're liking it.
Yeah, they should. For a while there, now you got me on the fucking yoga hosers tangent
jumping
again.
back.
I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody, but it got no theatrical like real theatrical release. It got limited released, and really the only way to go see it was to buy a ticket to. You'd see the movie, and then he'd do a Q&A. He did like a U.S. tour, and he did like limited city runs, and he'd do a Q&A after it, and that's how he would sell his tickets. And then it came out, and I saw the release date was the 22nd of. It's supposed to be the 22nd of November. And so I'm not even going to lie to you. I counted down to that date. I was like, Yoga Hosers is coming out because I couldn't see it in the theaters. Can't wait to go buy it. And then the release date came, and that movie didn't come out. You couldn't find it on Blu-ray or DVD or anything anywhere. I went everywhere. You couldn't find it anywhere. And the only place you could watch it was you could rent it or buy it on Amazon. Or you could go to Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash online, and you could buy it from the store. And that was it. Those are the only places you could find. And I'm telling you, I was a click away from buying this movie, and then I found out it was on Netflix, and I had a freaking I went crazy in my house. My children were afraid of me because I was just going bonkers because I was so excited that it was on Netflix.
That was like a silent release for them then, because Netflix is usually pretty good about saying this is what's new, and
it just came out of. I wonder how hard he had to push to get that on. I wouldn't think he'd have to push that hard to get it on Netflix, but Tusk wasn't on Netflix.
Right.
That never went to Netflix. His first horror film he made, Red State, that went to Netflix. That lived on Netflix for a really long time. And that was another one that was like, didn't really have a huge. It got a tour, a limited city tour, and that was about it. And that movie kicked ass. Like I loved Red State. So, Yoga Hosers. You said you could have bought it on Amazon or his website. So glad it lives on Netflix now. Huge fan of that movie. Again, I'll keep saying. Go watch the little Bratzies get stomped on. They don't bleed. There's no blood in the movie. Like they get stomped on, and like sauerkraut like comes bursting out of them, and that's what it is. That's how ridiculous the movie is. But I dare you to go watch that movie and not laugh for an hour and a half. It's funny, and there's some good music in it.
So there you are. You are dared to go watch.
Yeah, I dare you to watch Yoga Hosers. Kevin Smith reminds me of a little bit of Quentin Tarantino. Like if you go and you watch a Quentin Tarantino movie, he's not on the same level, I get it, as like filmmaker. But like if you go watch Quentin Tarantino movies, one consistent thing about his movies, besides they're good, is the music in Quentin Tarantino's movies are like the music is like top, like it's part of the movie. And that's not the way it is for every movie. Kevin Smith is kind of that same way. Like he takes a lot of time picking out his music for his film that drives the film. And Yoga Hosers has got some great
and like for Tusk, wasn't like most of his budget to be able to get the
song.
Royalties for Tusk?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it wasn't even the whole song.
Yeah.
It was like a chunk.
Yeah.
It played for like a minute maybe.
Yeah.
And he paid most of his budget came from getting that one song.
But when you're dedicated to your project, you're willing to do stuff like that. When there's something that you have in mind that you absolutely positively want, of course you're going to do that.
He built a rubber walrus suit, so and spent money on it. So it's not that ridiculous to spend that much money on the actual Fleetwood Mac song. But we can segue really quick into 2017.
Yep, sounds good. Because we're about at that time anyway to start moving on to that.
We got a small list of the flicks that we're looking forward to in 2017, and a lot of mine are franchises, really, which is, I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, but the thing, right? But the thing is, if you look at what's coming up in 2017. The majority of them are part of a franchise, or they're sequels, they're all this other stuff. So.
But some of them are franchises that went away for a really long time and are like all of a sudden finding a new audience, which is kind of cool. Right out of the gate for me, I was a big fan of the Ring movies when they came out. So Rings is coming out in February. I'm really excited to see what they're gonna do with that. The trailers look just kick ass. For a while there, how they did Jason versus Freddy?
Right. Yep.
For a while they're kicking back and forth the girl from the Rings, which is like Samara, and then the boy from The Grudge. They're gonna do like that, her versus him movie.
What?
And it would have been awful, but I would actually love to see that.
I don't even see how you can make a full movie out of that.
I have no idea.
That's insane.
I was like, watch how I can kill this person. No, you watch how I can kill this person. There's a movie coming out. Again, you're getting a list that you may already know, but these are movies that I'm super excited about. There's a movie that I think is kind of flying under the radar. I don't think a lot of people know about it unless they've caught the trailer spreading around on Facebook, which is where I saw it. There's a movie called Get Out coming out in February, which go check that trailer out. I wonder if we can get if we can just we can get those trailers and
we can link to the YouTube. We can link to the YouTube trailers.
Yeah, and link them to the podcast, because if you haven't seen some of these trailers, you should go and watch them, because Get Out is like it's a new kind of terrifying, like the way what they did with that movie.
So by the title being Get Out, it means actually get out of your house and go see this movie.
Yeah, this
trailer rocks hard.
It's super cool. And not cool. It's just creepy.
Well, and once again, people I've never seen before.
Yeah,
rocking it hard.
It's unnerving. That's the word I'm looking for. It's unnerving. Go, Patrick.
Oh, for me, right away in January, there's an Underworld movie coming out.
Yeah, that franchise is great.
Big Underworld fan, big Kate Beckinsale fan.
Yeah.
No big surprise to my wife there. She knows that.
Yeah.
She's probably a big Kate Beckinsale fan herself. And following it up with relatively attractive women in horror movies, Resident Evil's coming out, and we all know Resident Evil is hit and miss. Sometimes it's a big CGI shitstorm.
Yeah.
But
I only saw the first one. I didn't continue after that.
Right.
I was like, I don't care.
There's something about it. Women that kick ass in these movies. I really enjoy watching those movies. So, and then following up that. I am a huge Stephen King fan, and there are 2 movies coming out this year.
Yes.
Or in 2017.
I know one of them.
That I really, really want to see. The Dark Tower is one of the first ones. A huge Dark Tower fan. Read all the books for it, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with this and if they're able to continue the franchise after that, because there's no way they're going to handle everything in one movie. There's just no way in hell.
And I don't know anything about the books at all. I just know they're long.
It's a crossover between the big cowboy movies and sci-fi and horror. Okay. He did a great job of overlapping all these genres. And the second one is a remake.
Yeah.
That I love the book, And when I saw the TV movie, I was disappointed with it. I know a lot of people really enjoyed the TV movie. I think you're a fan of the TV movie. I
love the TV movie.
But it's it.
Yes.
And clowns scare the shit out of me. And I'm hoping that this one will too.
It ruined a lot of people's childhood. It ruined clowns for children for a lot of. There's people that grew up that are still afraid of clowns because of that movie. The only thing I'm concerned about for that movie is the casting of Pennywise, because I've heard some names that were thrown around that were also being considered for that part. And one of the names that I recently heard, I would have done anything to see this guy play it. Hugh Laurie, do you know who that is?
Oh yeah,
Hugh Laurie was talked about for playing Pennywise.
Oh, interesting.
And I think he would have smashed that part. And again, he plays dark characters like he played House, and
right.
He usually plays dark, semi-comedic characters. But like, I think Pennywise would have been an awesome opportunity for him. Who's playing it?
Yeah, I can't think of his name, but seeing him in his makeup and everything else, it looks pretty creepy.
The costume was a little bit weird, I thought. The only thing I'm kind of holding on to is they talk about how much was missing from the TV movie that was in the book, and they're going to try to stay a little closer to the book for this.
Right.
The other thing I'm wondering is if they're going to do kind of what the TV movie did and release it in 2 parts. Like, is there going to be an It Part 1 and then the next year do an It Part 2?
Exactly, because the book itself was extremely long. Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see how they release that movie. Otherwise, I think to get what you're going to get out of the book, you're going to go sit in a theater for 3 hours.
Right.
Which some people might do. I know people did it when they went and saw
Lord of the Rings. Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, everything else like that. Yeah.
Peter Jackson's King Kong.
You
didn't like that movie?
I did not like that movie.
Oh, no. Well, now we have another fight we gotta punch out.
But we have to do that on Greg's.
Yeah. Franchise-wise, for me, Insidious 4 is coming out. I like James Wan. I like his stuff. They promised Insidious 3 was going to be the last one. They lied. But I think Insidious 4 is a prequel. I think it might be a prequel.
So then why isn't it Insidious 0?
I don't know. Maybe because they can't count or they like to confuse people. But Insidious, I was a fan of the franchise. And again, I'm a huge fan of James Wan and his stuff. He hasn't really disappointed for me with what he has made. If you go and with James Wan, if you're talking about James Wan, you got to go back to Saw, which he directed the first Saw, and Saw Legacy is coming out in 2017. I saw all 7 of those movies.
And I surprised Josh by telling him I have never seen a single Saw movie.
So we're going to fix that. So, because you got to at least see the first one. You have to. It's just, talk about something you've never seen before. As far as I'm concerned, like when that movie came out, my wife ruined that movie for me. She leaned over 10 minutes into the movie and told me the end of the movie, and she had never even seen it before. She just ruined it for me. I almost killed her. That was as close to divorce, I think, as I've ever come. I hated her for days for ruining that movie for me. But I saw all 7 of those movies, and I just not only I just bought them on DVD. I saw them all of them in the theater. And I dig that franchise a lot. So, I was like, Wrong Turn. Did you ever see the Wrong Turn franchise?
No, I don't know if I have.
Wrong Turns, again, if you just see the first one, because after that, you're just watching the same movie 5 other times.
Kind of like the Final Destination thing.
Kind of like Final Destination, yeah. Okay. It's just like the same group of hillbillies killing a different group of teenagers, really.
Nice.
But the first Wrong Turn's a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. There's a franchise dropping a new movie, and I've never actually seen any of the other ones. Jeepers Creepers 3 is coming out. Did anybody see the first two?
I don't know. Justin Long was in one of them.
He was in the first one.
In the first one.
Yeah.
And it was an okay thing. I just didn't see why there was the need for a second, or in this case, even a third.
Yeah, I don't get really why you want to punch that one in the face so many times, but they did. Here's another movie that's coming out that we may fight over, or we may not fight over. I don't know your feelings on this yet, so I'm going to throw it out there. I'm going to find out. Again, anybody listening to this might be like, write hate mail, which I kind of hope they do, because I've never gotten hate mail before. But here we go. So there's a new Halloween movie coming out. I don't know if they're rebooting, if they are kind of going off of ignoring the last two movies that came out and going from the original franchise. I know John Carpenter's attached to it, not to direct, but to produce. Here's what I don't like. Let's start with here's what I like, because I'm trying to stay positive on this. I loved Rob Zombie's Halloween movies.
Yeah.
Both of them. Anybody that hated Halloween 2, fuck you. I loved Rob Zombie's Halloween movies. If you're gonna make another Halloween movie, why are we starting over? Just let him run with it.
Right.
Let him throw another one out there. I don't know if he had another story for another one or not, but I don't understand why you want to keep knocking the Halloween franchise into the ground and starting over with new directors who are just going to go in there and go, okay, let's start over with this origin story, and we're going to tell that again, and then we'll figure out where we're going to go from there. I'm really curious to see what they do with this new Halloween movie and where they decide to go from. Again, I don't know if they're going to start from Rob Zombie's second one and continue, or if they're going to go all the way back to John Carpenter's Halloween movies and go from there and just ignore 4, 5, 6, and the other 18 that came after those.
Right,
yep. So yeah, I'm curious to see how they dig into this franchise and make it fresh again.
Right. So then, looking at your list then, are there movies that are coming out in 2017 that you're just asking yourself, why?
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
So let's see if we can keep this to about a minute, because we're running close to shutdown time here.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Okay.
Go.
Chucky 7.
Done.
That would Chucky 2 should have been it.
Child's Play was great. I love Child's Play.
Yeah. Yeah, but Chucky 7, yuck.
No, there's no need.
You already talked about that one.
I'll throw it out. Annabelle 2.
Go ahead. There you go.
Annabelle 2 is just not something I'm looking forward to at all. The first one was garbage. Second one's going to be even worse.
Right. There's a Friday the 13th coming out.
I'm very curious to see that movie. Again, I loved the remake, actually. I'll be curious to see if what they do with more Jason Voorhees stuff.
All right. World War Z Part 2.
No need.
Right. And I do not disagree in any way, shape, or form. Alien Covenant.
I'm very curious to see where they go.
I, too, am curious about this. I guess Sigourney Weaver is attached to this one.
Yes.
That I even lived through the Winona Ryder one. Oh, my
I think
Lord.
they're ignoring it. I think they're ignoring the third one.
Okay.
And
because I have.
Yes. I think they're going Alien and then Aliens. And then they're going from there. I don't know how the hell they're doing it, but somehow they're going to ignore the fact that the two other ones existed in between this one and the next one.
Right. And then finally on my list, the new Mummy. I
don't. That's like, if it's like, we can sell this movie because Tom Cruise is in it. I don't know what they're doing. I saw the trailer for that, and it was just like, it's Mission Impossible meets, I don't even know anymore.
Right.
It's just like if you watch the movie, you feel like you're watching Mission Impossible.
Well, and is an extension of the other movies with Brandon Fraser and those. I mean, because that's the way it's kind of looking.
Yeah.
You know, with the promotions that they're doing for it, they're making it look like that. And Scorpion King and those or Queen or whatever that was. I just and the CGI on that one with the Rock was just horrible.
Yeah. I don't really get the point of it. Another real quick one is Sinister 3. Again, no need. I think they're making a Strangers 2. I think they're going to ruin what
Strangers was so good.
It was really good.
Yeah.
And then also and this is one I'm actually looking forward to is they're going to continue working on the Conjuring franchise.
Okay.
So I'll be curious to see where they go with that one too.
Right.
So, I'm a fan of a ghost story, which is why I loved Emily so much. On MidnightFrightFilms.com.
Good plug.
Plug.
All right. I think we're winding down here.
Yeah.
Any last things we want to... I mean, we plugged everything at the beginning. We normally plug things at the end.
Oh, but you can never plug things too many
much.
times. Go, Patrick. Plug.
I don't know what I have to plug. For Midnight Frights, we're currently... we wrapped up a couple of shoots that we are... in the process of editing.
Yes.
We've got Witches. We've got the Untitled Mermaid short, which I lovingly have titled Fish and Drips. And I think there's going to be a Christmas surprise coming out here.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. Go to the website, midnightfrightfilms.com.
Yes, sir.
And check out the YouTube channel that you can access from there. And we're going to try to do our best to keep you up to date. And we just ask that you pay attention.
Go watch our stuff.
Yeah, watch our stuff. Watch all the stuff that's out there. There's a lot of great filmmaking going on.
Yeah, there is.
We haven't had a chance to talk about Prairie Lights Film Festival, which we just attended a couple months ago. That maybe that should be next podcast, so we can talk about that a little bit, because we've got some kudos to go out to some really great filmmakers out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's it. On the Midnight Fright end.
Yes. I don't know how we normally end these.
How do you end this thing?
Yeah, exactly.
I think you just say peace out, Boy Scout, and you call it a day.
And you call it good? All right. Peace out, Boy Scout.